Welcome to Coinflip Combat for UFC 289. We're going to give you a review of last week along with some quick picks, what's going on for this big event. We've got a co-main that people have been really anticipating and a main event that might be interesting, so we'll see. Starting out, we got my host here, Jimmy Hoster. My host.
Hoster. Yeah, that's a good one.
And my name is Mr. Glista. Thanks for hanging out with us. Without further ado, Jimmy, what'd you think about the last event? Who was your ref of the week?
Well, Chris Tione is my ref of the week for last week. I mean, this guy, you cannot take a point away from Gaffarov in that fight for that headbutt. I mean, was it possibly a little intentional? Maybe. But even if it didn't look intentional enough for a point take. It looked intentional enough maybe for a warning, hey, don't do that again. But to take a point away and then that pretty much costs him the fight, in my opinion.
Yeah, but some people say it's not about the intention, it's about the damage done.
I don't know if he looked like that took that much damage from that headbutt.
Possible.
Considering that in the first round, there was another incidental clash of heads, and Gaffarov backed off of that and was like, yo, I just got headbutted. And Chris Tione was like, oh, I didn't see anything.
Yeah, and then the second one,
and then second round, he's just like,
point.
Oh, point taken off. It's just, weird. I don't know, it's a little, maybe a little salt in the wound after you get headbutt, and then to take a point for your headbutt is like, I would be a little frustrated. But
well, beyond that questionable call, though, more importantly,
the main event.
Was the main event a robbery? What do you think?
Absolute robbery.
Yeah.
Or rigged. I mean, I don't know.
Either way, that was totally Kai Kara-France's victory. I mean, look at the verdict scorecard.
Yeah.
The verdict scorecard was pretty much dead on. That's the way I saw the fight, too.
I agree with
Why don't we just use that as the standard for judging? I think we got the Three Stooges every freaking time.
Going back, like, it takes too long for them to get that scorecard after the fight. I guess they want that immediate, like, within a minute so we can announce the victor type of thing. That's always been how fighting works, but
maybe that's not the only thing. Maybe it's like a weighted system where you have the three judges, but then verdict is like a fourth judge or something. I don't know how you do it.
I don't really care how they do it. As long as Chris Lee isn't a judge, I don't think we'll have these problems, to be honest with you. Like,
it's making the UFC feel like a reality show where they make decisions to craft their narrative.
Yeah.
And it's like, Well, it takes away from like the dignity of the sport. We're talking about fighting here. I mean,
right? Yeah, exactly. It seems like there's a lot of weight put on the decisions, and then for them to repeatedly be wrong, like over and over and over again,
it's frustrating.
It's frustrating, and then like nothing's done about it too. Like, how many times has Chris Lee been on the wrong side of the scorecard, and we see him again in the main event on the wrong side of the scorecard? Yeah. And like, you can agree, you can even say that Amir won the fight in your opinion. Like, he took 3 rounds. To Kai's 2, you can say that, but you cannot give him round 4. Chris Lee gave him round 4. It's just not possible to give him round 4 without either just like filling it out after the fight, just 3-2, like filling out before the fight. Like, there's just no way. I don't understand.
I think round 4 was actually like the biggest spread on the verdict scorecard.
It was huge. It was like 27-6 in significant strikes.
Yeah.
No takedowns, no control time. And somehow Amir won the round. It made zero sense. It made 0 sense.
All right, but starting the UFC 289 picks, we got the first fight here. It is Maria Oliveira versus Diana BELBITA. Who do you think?
I'm probably going with Diana on this one. They're both pretty good on the feet, which is where they primarily want to keep this fight. Neither one of them is pretty much shooting takedowns. I will say Diana's definitely the more technical striker, in my opinion. But Maria has maybe a little bit more power and she's more willing to throw, I would say. Like, she throws some of those big shots or those risky shots that Diana doesn't really throw. She's more technical, more sound with her strikes that she throws. But I do think that technical side is going to carry her through this fight because it's probably going to stay on the feet. And I think she's going to be able to just stand and probably just trade with Maria and more beneficial to her side going towards a decision.
I'm actually going to make the other case, which is not surprising because this is a pick'em, but spoiler alert, I think Maria's the only Oliveira that gets a win this card. So, yeah, I could see it going either way, but honestly, I think Oliveira gets a finish. I think second round or third round, I think the sub is there. I think the knockout's there. She's got the power, and like you said, she's got the intensity and the explosiveness and the unpredictability. So I think that's really the X factor. BELBITA
on home turf. She trained out of Canada.
That's not going to matter for anyone.
Her last fight, it if you saw her after, like when the decision came, because it was a split decision. When she lost that that fight, and that decision came through, she looked devastated.
Done glory to Paula?
Yeah, she looked like angry, like
dude, I didn't
upset.
think she won the fight. What are you so upset about?
It was a close fight though, and she looked angry. So I feel like she's gonna come back out with like something to prove. She's gonna have a little fire lit under her, and that's just why.
She's at a new camp, from what I understand, and it's gonna be beneficial based on what the other cappers I trust say. So we'll see. We'll see if she's made a step up, because she's gonna need to.
Ooh, next fight we got David DVORAK versus Steven ERCEG. What do you think for this one?
This is gonna be my first big dog pick of the night. I'm going with ERCEG to pull up the upset. We got the odds. Wait a minute, these are not correct on the UFC website. Don't listen to those. All right, ERCEG is a big dog. All right, he's like 2-1 dog, I want to say. But dude, his record is impressive. And you say, oh, DVORAK's level of competition way better. Way better? I mean, he's fought some good guys, got beaten by Cop. Man, I think ERCEG is going to pull this out and establish his spot.
Underdog, plus 225.
Plus 225.
Not minus 170.
All right, well, sticking to my guns there.
I think that David has definitely fought the higher level of competition, but I don't think it's like drastically higher than where Steven has fought.
No.
If this goes to the ground, I think Steven definitely has the advantage when it comes to
black belt
jiu-jitsu with submissions, and he definitely has some great scrambling ability. So I think in that regard, I think that's like where he could excel in this fight. On the feet, I think they're pretty equal. Steven looks like maybe his head doesn't move the most, but David also is. He's kind of like they're both tough. They're both kind of like willing to slug it out a little bit. But I feel like if there's going to be any scrambles or any like takedowns or any ground part of this game, which I think there will be, that Steven's going to have the advantage. And so I'm leaning towards Steven to go out there and get this finished, actually.
Dang. Yeah, I just can't, like, DVORAK for that price is crazy to me.
Yeah.
Like, what's the selling point? Especially on DraftKings. Is he going to get a ton of points, ton of takedowns or something? No. He's not going to be trying to take down a black belt.
It's only 11 fights, too. It's, like, you got to pick wisely for your DraftKings roster here, I think.
Yeah, true. And I think ERCEG, if any, is going to be a good dog spot. He might be a little popular. We'll see.
We'll see, yeah. But for a dog, I feel like he's definitely a very live underdog bet.
Is he in your lineup?
He would be in my lineup, yeah.
He's in my lineup. All right. Moving on, we got Kyle Nelson versus Blake Bilder. Canadian versus American here. We got Kyle Nelson at plus 200. Bilder at minus 240. Jimmy, who do you think gets the dub?
This is a tough one. I feel like Nelson's actually pretty good, but I feel like he might have pillow hands.
Wait, what?
Yeah. Have you seen? Like, he'll clip some people. He'll touch them up, and he never puts them out.
Yeah, but dude, he's stunning them. He's stunning.
I know, but he stuns them, but like he can never like finish them. And I like Bilder's gonna be able to just eat his shots. I feel like if he has any success on the feet and just dish it back to him, but with some actual power behind it, and probably finish Nelson.
Yeah, see, I'm less concerned about a lack of power and more concerned about his chin. And, dude, I get betrayed by Canadian MMA fighters all the time. They're so impressive on paper, and I want to... Dude, Kyle Nelson is a very exciting fighter. It's easy to be a fan of his, but is he going to win this fight? I don't think so.
If you look
I don't think
at all of Kyle Nelson's like highlights, they're all in his like losses. Like he's sitting there, he's hitting them, and then he loses.
You're not seeing the whole fight now.
You know what I mean? Like he never has enough to finish them, and he doesn't get finished himself that often, like early. But towards the end, when he's been putting it on, he might get a little gas towards like the third round. They have the ability to just go in there, and maybe get him done, get him finished. So I think Blake could definitely do that in the third round.
Bilder late finish somehow, second or third, but. Is he a good DraftKings choice? Yes, and I'll explain why later.
Well, I'm looking forward to hearing about that one. All right, we got Ayman Zahabi versus Iori Kilang. What do you got for this one?
I'm going with Iori Kilang because, once again, dude, these Canadians. The home court advantage, I don't believe in it for these. Yes, his brother's Faraz Sahabi, who's an MMA genius as far as I'm concerned, but is his coaching enough to get him the victory in this fight? I don't think so. Aorki Long's training at Fight Ready under some great coaching. He's taking this very seriously from what I understand, looking great. As long as he weighs in smoothly and is looking ready to go, I'm on Aorki Long strongly. Not a bad DraftKings pick in my opinion either, because Zahabi is so low volume. He's going to get outpaced like crazy.
So that's the thing about Zahabi, because of who his brother is, they always come in with a game plan. Right? They're always strategizing for each opponent and the best way to win that fight, whether that be taking it super slow, which is how he tends to take his fights, very defensive on the feet, looks for his opportunities to strike. But I feel like it's going to be close because of that counter strike potential that he has with Keelong's he likes to go. He just go. He'll just walk you down, throw strikes. He walks you down and throws strikes. And the chance that Zahabi could catch him with maybe like a pretty strong counter just makes it a little risky for me. But I do think that Keelong will have the volume and the tempo to just keep on putting it on Zahabi and go for a decision.
I didn't look at it from that side because he is a very strategic fighter. He's good on the ground too. Pretty all-around prepared for this fight. But, man, I think Aorki Long can handle what he's going to dish and take this late. And, oh, God, do we want to leave it on this? Yeah. Maybe this is not a great DraftKings fight, actually, because Zahabi might slow this down to a crawl.
For the most part, it's not a good betting from DraftKings perspective for points, in my opinion. He's such a low volume fighter.
Which, if you want to go like super contrarian, maybe Zahabi on your DraftKings roster, but I don't see the upside. Not enough to take that risk myself.
I agree.
Yeah. Next up, we got a women's flyweight bout: Miranda Maverick versus Jasmine JASUDAVICIUS. What do you say, Jimmy?
I have Jasmine JASUDAVICIUS in this one, actually. Miranda looked better in her last fight, but I still don't see anything that's like amazing out of her, I would say. Everybody always talks about her wrestling, but I think Jasmine's actually the better wrestler in this case. So I don't see Miranda being able to, well, she could if she's more offensively, how do I put this? If she is more offensive with her wrestling, I see Miranda could possibly get takedowns on Jasmine, but I don't see Miranda being able to deal with Jasmine's offensive wrestling if she decided to do that. Her defensive wrestling, Mavericks, is not the greatest, so if she gets taken down, I just don't see her being able to win this fight if she can just continuously get taken down by Jasmine, and Jasmine just kind of like weighs on her with her wrestling ability.
Yeah, people seem to be saying that JASUDAVICIUS' path to victory is just a lot of offensive wrestling, overpower, outpace Maverick, kind of like the Blanchfield plan. But, man, Maverick has a couple rough fights against very good competition, and people are ready to write her off. I'm not ready to write her off. If you think like defensive wrestling / grappling is her weakness, she's been doing a ton of jiu-jitsu competitions. I think she's still sharpening her skills big time. She's young. She's coming up in the division. So I'm sticking with Miranda Maverick here, but at minus 295?
Yeah, she's such a favorite. I think it's a way closer fight than the odds are showing.
I don't think she's a parlay piece. I don't even necessarily think she's a smart person to roster in DraftKings at 9,300. That's so kind of insane
this week. Yeah,
but I think she wins the fight.
But if it is a wrestling heavy fight and she is getting the takedowns on Jasmine, she could put up decent points from a DraftKings.
She's been a takedown monster
for 9,300.
If I'm not mistaken.
Maybe if you have a couple of upsets, underdogs on your roster, and you just got some extra money and as an option, but I don't see her being. I don't think 9,300 for Miranda is a good choice.
Agreed.
All right, we got Nasruddin Imavov versus Chris Curtis. Should be a good fight. Thing for this one.
Did you say Imavov? I'm actually going with Imavov, and by that I mean Imavov.
I did say Imavov.
Now,
that's
I've heard a lot of people this week on Chris Curtis, and I'm a huge fan of the action man. But man, I got burned with the Hermanson fight because I was like, Sean Strickland, his main man, beat him. He's got the roadmap to beating Hermanson. He could do the same. No, didn't work. Imavov was last beaten by Sean Strickland.
Yeah.
Can Sean show Curtis the keys to defeat? Yeah, on a week's notice. But, man, I don't think it's going to translate. I really like Chris Curtis. I think this has fight of the night potential. It could be a serious high-volume banger that is, stand up on the ground, whatever. But I think Imavov comes out of this one unanimous decision. He might even sweep all 3 rounds.
It's a tough one. I'm leaning towards Chris Curtis, actually. I think
we're flip-flopped on so many fights.
I think he hits harder than Strickland does. And Imavov was getting hit by Strickland. And I think if Curtis can land his shots, kind of how Strickland was landing, that Imavov, I don't know why I'm trying to say Imavov. Imavov is susceptible to getting hit, and Chris Curtis's power could potentially be a problem for him. I do see him as the more technical striker, though, as far as being able to just kind of pick apart Chris Curtis maybe from a distance as he's backing up, because he's going to be the taller opponent by quite a bit, I think.
Oh, yeah, 6'3"
to 5'10", which is another difference, I think, between Strickland and Curtis that is maybe being missed, is the height difference there. So Strickland is pretty much just pretty close to Imavov's height, whereas Curtis is quite a bit shorter.
Well, a lot of people are saying that Curtis should be a welterweight, and eventually that's the division he should settle in if he wants to really
that's where he's trying to go.
Yeah. So, yeah, there's going to be a size difference, and is that going to be enough? We'll see.
I don't think so. I think Curtis will be able to catch him with something, and that'll be it. But
this is a close one. Oh, Imavov won. All right, tell you what. All right, I lost $5 to Jimmy on Altamirano Elliott. I had Victor. That was a good fight.
It was a great fight.
All right, I get to pick the favorite on this side then. So $5 Imavov.
Sure.
Oh, let's
you
go.
Get the favorite on this one. I'm looking forward. That'll put some heat on that fight for us.
All right, we got a middleweight bout after that. Marc-Andre Barriault versus Eric Anders. What do you think for this one, Jimmy?
I'm leaning towards Eric Anders, actually. I don't think that Andre's going to be able to put him out, and the toughness of Anders and the pace that he puts in like the early rounds, I think that'll be enough to win him via decision, in my opinion. I just don't see anything that Marc-Andre is going to be able to do to beat Anders decisively. I think it'll be a pretty good fight. I just think that Anders is going to be able to squeak him out via decision here.
Yeah, I like both these fighters. I got a lot of respect for these guys. I think they're cardio machines. They're both super durable. They're both pretty high volume, good pace fighters. I mean, it's going to be exciting for as long as it lasts, but that's kind of the question. If it goes late, who's really got the bigger gas tank? Who's going to keep up the pace? God, I could see this going so many different ways. I'm staying the hell away from this one. I don't want to roster either in DraftKings. I could see great upside to both. I will say, Barriault's chin is way better than implied by recent history. Dude is tough.
Yeah.
I don't think he's getting knocked out, but could it put enough of a pace on him early where Barriault's scrambling late to come back? We'll see. Maybe. I got Barriault slight edge.
I guess is a very close fight, but yeah, it's just gonna be really close. I think.
Man, we're gonna have very different records after this weekend.
Should be interesting.
Yeah.
Oh, this is a good one. Dan Ige and Nate Landwehr. What do you got?
I've got a feeling we're going to be opposing on this one. I'm going with Nate freaking Landwehr. The train, baby! I think he's going to pull some haymaker out of nowhere and take Ige out. Now, Ige's no slouch. He's very freaking good. Solid, technically. I mean, man, he's just kind of settled into that gatekeeper role as of late and just losing these close decisions, as often happens in these lighter divisions with these brawlers that can just rock'em sock'em robot their way to a decision most fights. And God, I think Landwehr's gonna be like the flashier one in this fight, and the judges like flashy BS sometimes. I'm a big fan of Landwehr too. Dude, he beat Elkins. He's beaten some. That was what solidified. I was like, this guy's legit.
Yeah, he's really okay. I wouldn't say he's really good, but he's really tough, right? But that might be kind of his downfall. At every fight, he's kind of like out there brawling, taking quite a bit of damage. Ige's got some power in his hands. And most people can't put out Nate the Train, but I feel like Ige might have the power to put out Nate the Train.
Is he going to pull out a Julian Erosa head kick? I don't think so. Is he going to box the pants off him until Landwehr can take no more?
I think it's going to be a stand-up fight for the most part, and I just think.
Oh yeah.
And I just think that Ige is going to be able to land the stronger shots, and that he might be able to land the shot that puts Nate down. But Nate is tough. It is not going to be an easy task for Ige.
Ige is minus 250 to Landwehr's plus 210. A lot of people are siding with you on that one for the same reasons, but I think Nate Landwehr figures out a way. Because you know what? I'm going with narrative plays from now on.
He was pumped for this fight.
What's the more exciting narrative? Dan Ige, the great fighter who's on a recent skid, kind of settled into this gatekeeper role.
Won his last fight.
Yeah, versus Nate Landwehr, this crazy Louisianan freaking brawler. They want to pump this guy up. I'm going with Landwehr. If it goes to the judges, I think they have a reason to pick Landwehr.
With significant strike statistics for these two. The pace that Landwehr puts is
6.47 significant strikes
pretty high
per minute for Landwehr versus Ige's 3.8.
Yeah, but those are 3.8 strikes with like 1.5 times the power of Landwehr's.
I don't know. I think Landwehr's got just as much. Now, absorbed per minute, Landwehr is also winning 5.5 to Ige's 3.6. So, we'll see. This is going to be a brawl, man. Yeah. It's going to be a brawl.
I'm looking forward to that fight for sure.
All right. Welterweight bout next. We got Mike Malott versus Adam Fugit.
Fuck it.
Fuck it. That's what I've been saying all week, but I don't think that's what it is.
How can you resist saying fuck it?
It was tripping me out because their names are both 6 letters and end in TT, vowel TT. It's like, what the heck?
AI generated names.
These real people.
Yeah.
Who do you got in this one?
I'm leaning towards Mike the Mallet. Malott. I just think that he's very well-rounded, and that he's able to go out there, put his hands on Adam, and just either hit him a couple of times and maybe hurt him and then grab him and submit him like he has so many other people, or just straight up finish him on the feet. Adam is very tough. He's seen that in some of his past fights, but
the Morales fight, my God. He won me over with that.
Mike Mallet hits pretty hard. I'm just leaning towards Mike the Mallet, you know.
I am also, but only slightly.
Only slightly?
Only slightly.
Yeah. I do think that Adam is being slept on a little bit. I think he could be a sneaky underdog pick here in this fight.
I think he's looked good every time he stepped in the octagon.
He has some clean combinations with his striking that I don't think Mike's gone up against anybody that's been able to actually like stand with him for like a significant amount of time.
He's a striking coach though. Like I don't think Adam's gonna necessarily bring anything like super fancy or surprising.
No, I know. But Mike is like hittable. He's been hit in his past fights when he's with someone that actually is like a striker.
Let's check the striking stats here. Fugit has a 1 strike per minute advantage. Significant strikes, a lot higher percent for what that's worth.
Yeah.
Fugit absorbs a lot more per minute too.
Yeah,
almost double.
But you have to take into consideration like the time elapsed in their fights as well. Like I feel like Mike has had a couple of quick and get in there, get out type of fights.
Almost exclusively.
Adam's
first
kind of
round
been in
knockout
there,
artist.
You know, actually fighting guys for like
true,
a set amount of time. So the stats don't really say the whole picture here. I'm still leaning towards Mike the Mallet, but I do think that Adam could be a sneaky underdog play.
Yeah, I think he's a great underdog play. The line is, wow,
yes,
minus 205 for Malott, which is crazy. I mean, hometown, for what that's worth, I don't know.
There's a lot of hometown guys on this card and girls.
That's a way closer fight than the line indicates.
I agree, yeah. All right. Charles Oliveira and Beneil Dariush. I have been looking forward to seeing Beneil fight for a while.
No kidding.
What do you got in this one? think you kind of alluded to it earlier.
Oh
with,
man,
the
I
Dariush.
tell myself not to bet with my heart and bet with my brain, but damn, I really want to see Dariush win.
Are they on opposite sides with this fight for you?
What do you mean?
Your heart and your brain?
Oh yeah, I mean, Oliveira, dude, that resume is so impressive. Like, and I think ring rust is real.
But what's wrong with Dariush's resume?
Nothing, but he hasn't been fighting champions.
Not by
like
his,
champions, man.
But he
Dariush
also,
is
like,
excellent, but like slightly unproven for me. I'm a huge fan.
But when you look
But
at
this
the
fight
champions
worries
that
me for him. Still,
Charles has fought.
I'm going with Dariush, man. I'm going with Dariush. I think he gets a knockout. Seems like the line is at 3.5 rounds, and the over/under is like even. Under. I don't think it reaches the 4th.
I actually think Dariush should win this fight.
The grappling advantage?
I think he. Well, no. I think he does have the grappling advantage, but I think he'll win via the striking because Oliveira won't be able to do anything with his grappling advantage. Like, Dariush isn't going to be worried about takedowns. He's not going to be worried about like scrambling and getting a good position because he's not really, in his own words, he's not in danger from Charles's jiu-jitsu. He feels that his is on a way higher level. And I kind of agree, actually. I think Charles's jiu-jitsu is good, but I think he's gone more towards like MMA jiu-jitsu, which is like scrambling, looking for submissions, kind of being crazy, like giving up maybe some good positions to go for submissions. And I just don't see that benefiting him against Dariush. I think Dariush will capitalize on any bad positions he puts himself in. And then on the feet, I mean, we've seen Oliveira get knocked down by like everybody.
Oh, God, that's the crazy
especially
part.
Recently,
Does he get starched early and then go zombie mode?
so I could see him getting starched, and then a lot of people are afraid to like enter his guard or like go on the ground with him because they think they're going to get submitted.
But
Dariush won't be.
Not be. Yeah.
So he might just enter the guard. He might try to pat. He might go for something on the ground. Either way, I just see this going Dariush's way, in my opinion. I also am a little bit of a fan of Dariush, so I guess I'm a little biased.
Yeah, same.
I like Oliveira against pretty much anybody but Dariush. I guess.
Fair enough.
So.
Fair enough. You think he's got his kryptonite? I think so too. Finishing up, we got the women's bantamweight title fight. Amanda Nunes taking on Irene Aldana. Who do you think walks away with the belt?
I think Amanda's taking the belt home again. I just don't see Irene being able to stand with her for very long. And if she does try to stand with her, just kind of getting taken down and submitted.
Yeah, honestly,
so
yeah.
Amanda has looked better since her loss, in my opinion. I think it kind of lit a fire under her, kind of reinvigorated her passion for fighting again. Maybe she wasn't looking forward to as many of her fights just because she'd been double champ for so long. It gets kind of boring, I can only assume.
John Jones syndrome.
Yeah,
now
right.
she's actually got something to fight. She's got her spark back.
And this is a new person she's never fought before, so I think she's going to come out here, and I think she's going to get the submission win.
I agree. I'm going with Nunes. Proven, the champ, arguably the GOAT. I mean, come on. Aldana's great, but is it going to be like Grasso versus Shevchenko? I don't think we see that repeat.
Yeah.
I think Nunes gets it done and potentially gets it done early. Great DraftKings pick, even at the top price. When is she not the most expensive person on the slate?
Always has good points, though.
But with some great underdogs, I think in ERCEG and Landwehr, you're going to be able to afford her. So
there's some good roster lineups, I feel like, with some good underdog picks here.
yeah, I'm going with the chalk here. Now, do I want to like bet her in parlays and stuff? Not necessarily. Maybe straight up to win by finish or by sub if you're feeling real spicy. But Amanda Nunes to get the victory, I think is pretty secure at minus 320. That's not bad. That's fair. That's fair.
Way better odds than we've seen in the past for her fights.
Oh, yeah, big time. All right, we're going to wrap things up with a DraftKings DFS breakdown. These are our recommended rosters for this weekend. Now, you don't want to copy verbatim, but like, you know, consider why we're making these picks. Maybe you're playing the flip side. Maybe you see another fight with a high finish potential, because that's really what you're targeting, is which fights are going to finish and which of those finishing fights are going to be the least popular on the slate. Can you really pick the ones that no one else sees? So I'm starting out in order from most expensive to least expensive. Amanda Nunes on top, 9,500, the most expensive fighter, but she's one of the greats, and she averages over 100 points per fight. That's crazy. How do you not go with Amanda Nunes when she's available, especially when there's some good dogs? Moving on, I've got Blake Builder for 9,000. Is he a done deal against Blake? Or oh, jeez, what's guy? Kyle Nelson. Is he a sure thing? Is Blake Builder a sure thing against Kyle Nelson? No, but I think he's going to score well. I think he's going to get Nelson out of there early, so I'm putting Blake Builder on my roster.
I think maybe you don't like Canadians.
I don't. I'm cursed with MMA Canadians. I'm staying away from them. I wanted to put Malott on this, but I didn't. Moving on, I've got Beneil Dariush in the co-main event over Oliveira. When he scores well in a win, it's up there, and I think this one's going to be under 3.5 because Oliveira's kind of crazy. They're both going to want to capitalize on vulnerabilities and end it quick, so I think he scores high. Moving on from him, Aor Kilang. I think he's going to have a great showing against Zahabi, just like twice the volume. Yeah, if it goes to decision, I would hope they recognize that he's thrown twice as many strikes, and hopefully he keeps it off the ground, and his fight camp went well, so we'll see with him. He has
like 0 takedowns in the history of his fight, so
well, that's not worried. Then moving on, I got the first big dog, Nate Landwehr. I think he finds some kind of opening against Ige and puts him out early. Is he gonna sub him? I don't think so. But I think Landwehr, crazy Nate, maybe he goes to decision and just gets some takedowns mixed in there. We'll see. But Landwehr's going to fight for my money. I feel good about picking him for 7,100.
So would Dan. Against the last expensive.
And then I'm finishing up with Steve ERCEG at 6,800.
A big underdog.
Huge underdog, but dude,
per value there.
That's what I'm saying.
Enormous.
He could have a very quick finish.
He could also get knocked out immediately.
I don't think so, man.
I don't think so. He looks pretty tough in some of his fights, but
he's champion in this smaller organization that he's emerging from.
And where he's coming from has some up and comers as well. Well, has had Jack Della Medella Lane.
Oh dang!
He's from there.
Oh yeah, so, Australians. All right.
No.
So that's my roster. For better or worse, make deviations as you see fit. Jimmy, who have you got this weekend?
All right. For this weekend, I've got, starting from your most expensive to least expensive, I'm going with Amanda Nunes in the main event. I think she's going to go out there. I think she's going to get a finish in probably one of the earlier rounds, if I had to guess.
Agreed.
Put up a lot of points, is my guess. Next is Dan Ige. I actually think he's going to be able to finish Nate with maybe a good shot in the first or second. But Nate's really tough, so that's me just kind of hoping for a bet on something that might maybe other people don't have, you know.
I bet Ige's about 30% owned, because I think a lot of people see that finish potential.
I don't think a lot of them see it or are willing to bet it at 9,100, but I do think that there will be some people playing it for sure. Moving along, I have Dariush in the Oliveira fight. I think that he hasn't been in there in a while, and I think he's going to want to come out and make a statement. And I think that Oliveira is a good opponent for him. So I think he's going to go out there and get us some good points. Then I have, let's see who's next, who's cheapest. Aor Kilang. I think that he's just such a higher volume fighter than Zahabi. And Zahabi's such a defensive fighter that if he doesn't get finished, he's going to be able to just keep on putting points up throughout that fight. Then I have Chris Curtis at 7,700. I think that he has the potential to finish Imavov and get you some good points there.
You know why I especially like Chris Curtis this weekend? He's a flag face. Dude, when fighters don't have pictures, they're so much less attractive to a casual DFS player. They're like, who do I want? This guy who's a flag circle or this tough-looking dude?
The casual fan doesn't see a face.
Yeah, you're getting bang for your buck with him being an American flag picture. I'll tell you that much.
Curtis probably doesn't scream at me as well. You know, for the I don't know if anybody's looking at Curtis's. I don't know, dude.
His name is Curtis based on that previous.
And then rounding it out, I also have Steve ERCEG. I just think that dollar amount, 6,800, how can you beat that? I think he has the potential to to go out there and get an early finish, and so. It's
And
really just
if
hard to
not,
pass up, but-
he might fight to like a 45-point decision, you know, and that's not
true.
bad
I mean,
for that
that's not
price.
terrible,
It's not going to
considering-
bust your roster.
Considering what picking him would allows you to get across, it allows you to get Nunez, Darius,
Yeah.
another couple high cost fighters. So that's my pick.
Nice. All right. Well, good luck to you. Hope you enjoyed that episode. This is our first go with this, so leave us your feedback in the comments. Hopefully, like, subscribe, and we'll get some wins. We'll see who wins some of these contentious split ones.
I'm up 1-0 so far, so we'll see.
We'll
see how the record goes.
All right, we'll see. All right. Tune in next time. Thanks, y'all.